Okay, so let's dive into this. Geneva. You've got this scene, right? Soft light, mahogany gleaming.
Yeah, quite the setting.
Exactly. But the feeling described in this account, total pressure cooker.
Mhm.
This meeting between Prime Minister Mark Carney and former President Donald Trump.
Forget pleasantries. It sounds like it was high stakes from the get-go.
Absolutely. So our mission here in this deep dive is really to unpack it.
Yeah.
Get past the surface of this intense clash and pull out the key moments, what they actually mean. We're working from this detailed account, remember.
And it's fascinating how that formal backdrop, becomes the stage for something so raw, almost confrontational.
Totally. You can almost see the flags, right?
Okay.
Representing the two nations, but really highlighting these opposing views that are about to just, well, collide.
Exact.
And the power dynamics described, they're clear right away. Trump walks in, apparently with that usual confidence, and immediately tries to sort of needle Carney, congratulations, Mark, on your little election win.
Mm.
You can just hear the condescension. Then, of course, pivots to him. My tremendous historic victory. It feels very calculated. A performance.
It absolutely sets the tone, doesn't it? That opening line. It's all about trying to unsettle Carney, establish dominance, pitting his historic victory against a little election win.
Right. A deliberate move to diminish him from the start.
Definitely.
And Carney's initial reply, it's described as very measured. Canadians came together to choose me. That's the strength of our democracy. He's not taking the bait.
No, he's sticking to principle. But Trump apparently just brushes it off, calls the election total chaos.
Says Carney slipped through by pure luck. And you get this image of the American aides. That's the term used, laughing.
Yeah, that reported laughter. It's meant to amplify Trump's point, clearly.
While the Canadian officials are just, trying to keep a straight face. Poker faces all around, probably.
And that early exchange, it really shows the contrast, doesn't it? Carney's appealing to democratic ideals, the people's will.
Well, Trump's operating on, like, sheer personal power. Perceived power, anyway.
Right. And it gets more pointed. Trump tries to label Carney as temporary, just Trudeau's stand-in, another jab at his legitimacy.
But Carney apparently comes right back. I'm here to lead Canada into the future, Donald, not to linger in the past. That's putting down a marker.
A really important response from Carney there, pushing back directly, saying, I have my own mandate, my own vision, a firm assertion.
And then comes this big claim from Trump, really ramps up the tension. Canada needs me to thrive, Mark. Without America, you're nothing.
Wow. That's hitting at the core of Canada's identity, its whole place in the world.
It really captures that whole America first thing, but taken to an extreme, right? Like complete Canadian dependence.
Totally ignores the reality of how intertwined the economies are. It's a narrative he's trying to create.
But Carney, according to this, doesn't blink. The rebuttal. Canada doesn't need anyone's protection. We're a sovereign nation, proud and independent.
And that line really sets the tone for the whole rest of the meeting, doesn't it?
It seems so. It's the foundation for everything Carney argues later.
Yeah, that becomes his anchor point, pushing back against any idea of subservience, asserting Canada's right to choose its own path.
Okay, so let's dig into the main points now, starting with the tariffs. The account paints this picture. Trump, with a bit of theater, pulls out this thick, leather-bound document, claims it shows billions in U.S. subsidies going to Canada.
That detail, the leather-bound document, it suggests something prepackaged, like, here's the undeniable proof.
And Carney's face, reportedly unreadable, just holding steady.
Keeping his composure, likely. Not getting drawn in immediately, playing it carefully.
Right. And this is all against the backdrop of the main issue. Those 25% tariffs Trump put on Canadian goods since March 2025, according to this source.
Now, for anyone listening who might be less familiar, tariffs are basically import taxes.
Right, taxes on Canadian stuff coming into the U.S.
Yeah.
And the account says they were already causing problems on both sides.
That's key. Unrest in American states that rely on Canadian imports, higher prices for U.S. consumers, the ripple effect.
Because the economies are so linked, you can't just hit one without the other feeling it.
Exactly. Tariffs often have these unintended consequences that hit home.
But Trump is portrayed as completely confident, predicting his tariffs would just crush Canada's economy. Said it would happen in 6 months. You're done finished.
That kind of certainty. It fits with his general view on trade, Win-lose. Tariffs as the main weapon.
Events didn't quite bear that out, it seems. But Carney apparently counters with specifics. He points to job losses in American states, Ohio, Kentucky, Michigan.
That's small, hitting Trump where it might hurt politically, showing the tariffs weren't just Canada's problem, they were hurting his own voters.
And Canada wasn't just taking it. They hit back. 20% tariffs on American cars, steel, aluminum, about 30 billion Canadian dollars worth.
Retaliation. But Trump's reaction, according to this account, dismissive. That's kid stuff, Mark.
Yeah, you think you can scare me with your little taxes?
It suggests maybe he underestimated Canada's willingness to retaliate, or the actual impact of those counter tariffs.
Then Trump apparently threatens to escalate. Big time. 50% tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum.
That's a huge jump, real hardball.
But Carney doesn't back down. If you want a trade war, Donald, Canada's ready. Just stands firm.
That's a crucial moment. It signals Canada won't be intimidated. They're prepared for more economic pressure, even a full trade war.
And here's where things get interesting. Canada, we're told, was already working on deepening trade ties with Europe.
A strategic move. Diversifying. Reducing reliance on the U.S. market, which was looking pretty unpredictable at that point.
Makes sense. Don't keep all your eggs in one basket, especially if the basket holder is threatening to drop it.
Precisely. It gives them options, reduces vulnerability.
Which leads to what this account calls Carney's bombshell. He reveals the European Union has agreed to double its steel imports from Canada, starting next year.
Whoa, that's a major development.
And Trump's reaction. Described vividly, his jaw tightens, his eyes narrowing to slits, accuses Carney of bluffing.
That's a masterstroke from Carney, really. It directly undercuts Trump's leverage. Shows Canada has real, significant alternatives. Maybe Trump's tariffs were actually pushing Canada towards Europe.
His disbelief seems to show how unexpected it was.
Completely.
And Carney wraps that section up with a strong statement. We don't kneel to anyone, Donald. Canada's building an economy stronger than ever, with or without your market.
That's a powerful assertion of independence, a direct rebuttal to Trump's earlier "you're nothing without America" line, painting a picture of a resilient, self-sufficient Canada.
Okay, let's shift gears. This whole 51st state idea comes up next. Apparently, Trump suggests it, almost theatrically.
Yeah, the account says, no tariffs, no problems, just join us.
And the American aides reportedly chuckled.
That laughter, it kind of suggests maybe a lack of understanding or appreciation for Canada's independent identity, right? Treating it almost like a joke.
While completely ignoring, the whole concept of Canadian sovereignty.
Exactly. But Carney's response is described as immediate, firm. You're talking about the sovereignty of 40 million Canadians, Donald. Doesn't even entertain it.
No, he makes it clear that sovereignty is just non-negotiable.
Yeah.
It's fundamental.
Absolutely crucial. It's at the heart of Canada's identity.
Trump then apparently tries a different tack, more patronizing. Says he'd turn Canada into an economic powerhouse, better than you could ever dream.
That tone, it reveals this belief that, America knows best and Canada can't really succeed on its own, overlooks Canada's existing strengths.
Which, Carney points out, he fires back with pride. We don't need you to make us great, Donald. Canada's already an energy superpower with resources and ambition to spare.
Good counter, highlighting Canada's actual standing, its energy resources, its own drive, not just some little brother needing help.
Then Trump apparently brings up boycotts. Claims Canadians are boycotting American goods because they're scared of me.
A very self-focused interpretation, isn't it? Framing it as fear to maintain that narrative of dominance.
Ignoring any other reasons, like supporting their own economy or disagree with policies.
Right, but Carney reframes it completely. Says they're not scared, they're united protecting our country. Calls it Canadian pride at work.
Turning a potential negative into a positive show of solidarity. Very effective.
Flips the narrative entirely, portrays it as national unity, resolve.
Then Trump reportedly escalates again, a really aggressive threat. I could make Canada collapse if I wanted to.
That's pure intimidation, using economic might as a weapon to try and force concessions.
But Carney stands firm again. Echoes something from his victory speech, apparently. You'll never break us, Donald. This is Canada, and we decide our own fate.
Just reinforcing that core message. Resilience, self-determination, defiance against the threat.
And then comes this move described as a masterful twist. Carney signs an executive order. Right there. Or announced it there.
The account implies it was a key reveal during the meeting, strengthening protections for Canada's water resources.
Water, a vital Canadian resource.
Exactly. And Trump's reaction, reportedly stunned silence. It's a clear signal. Canada will proactively protect its interests regardless of threats. a decisive action that seemed to catch Trump completely off guard.
Okay, let's talk about Carney's economic arguments and this whole energy dimension. He brings the focus back to the fallout from Trump's tariffs, the impact on both countries.
Yeah, citing rising prices in places like Michigan, New York, making it clear it's not just Canada feeling the pain.
He offers a way out, suggests they drop the tariffs and work together for mutual benefit. A collaborative approach.
But Trump apparently dismisses it. America doesn't need to work with anyone, Mark. No one always will be.
Pure America First ideology there. No interest in win-win solutions, it seems.
Consistent with his whole approach, unilateralism.
So Carney doubles down on the impact on American workers, mentions specific examples like Ohio steel plants laying off hundreds because of the tariffs.
Focusing on the human cost, trying to show the tariffs are counterproductive, even hurting the people they were supposed to help.
Trump then tries to flip it, attacking Canada's economy. Says it's drowning in debt, can't compete.
Classic deflection, isn't it? Shift the focus away from the problems caused by his policies onto supposed Canadian weaknesses.
But Carney counters with confidence. Talks about plans to balance the budget, create jobs, energy, skilled trades, critical minerals.
Right. Painting a picture of future strength, stability, and mentioning critical minerals, lithium, cobalt, things needed for EVs, renewables, that's important.
Very strategic, highlighting Canada's role in the future economy.
Exactly. It counters Trump's negativity with a vision of growth opportunity in key sectors.
Then another surprise from Trump, according to the account. A 25% tariff on Canadian lumber.
Whew. That would hit provinces like BC and Quebec hard. Big forestry industries there.
Definitely a challenge. But the account also hints at Canadian resilience, the ability to adapt, find other markets maybe.
Probably. It's another example of Trump using tariffs as leverage, but the implication is Canada wouldn't just fold.
This brings us to energy. Canada's a huge energy partner for the U.S. That gives them leverage.
Significant leverage. Trump reportedly demands prioritized energy sales to America.
But Carney holds the line on mutual benefit. No dictation, just a balanced relationship.
Refusing to be treated as just a resource tap for the U.S. wants an equitable partnership.
So Trump threatens to cut energy contracts.
Risky move. And Carney apparently points out the potential consequences. Blackouts, soaring costs in states like New York, Massachusetts, places heavily reliant on Canadian energy.
He's showing Trump the potential blowback on American consumers and businesses, using Trump's own tactics in a way.
Highlighting the dependencies. Trump dismisses Canada's strength, but Carney pushes this vision of Canada as a growing power. Clean energy, critical minerals.
Mentions investments, a coast-to-coast power grid, really focusing on the future.
Positioning Canada not just as it is, but as a leader in where the world is going. Clean tech, essential minerals, long-term potential.
Which leads to another shocking moment. Trump reportedly threatens to just take your resources.
Wow, that's incredibly aggressive.
And Carney's response is described as absolutely resolute.
Yeah.
You want our land, our resources, our water, Canada will never be yours. An unwavering defense of sovereignty.
Leaves zero doubt about Canada's stance, protecting its fundamental assets. Completely unambiguous.
And then another strategic play by Carney. He reveals a deal signed to export lithium, that critical mineral again, to Japan.
Opening new markets, another demonstration of diversification, reducing reliance on the U.S. proactive, securing Canada's future in a key sector.
Okay, let's touch on national unity. The account mentions these growing boycotts between citizens. Americans boycotting Canadian goods.
And Trump apparently gloats about that.
But Carney calmly points out it's happening the other way, too. Canadians boycotting American goods, and he frames it positively. Our unity at work.
Smart framing, turning boycotts, which can seem negative, into an expression of national solidarity, building domestic support, shared purpose.
While Trump apparently sees Canadians as just angry, lashing out because they can't win, doesn't get the deeper pride involved.
Yeah, that interpretation seems to miss the point. It's not just anger, it's determination, national pride, the things Carney is tapping into.
Trump even tries to claim he has friends in Canada who support him, trying to divide.
Possibly, but Carney shuts that down, reportedly. Redirects immediately back to respecting Canadian sovereignty, the collective will. No internal divisions welcome here.
Then comes this prediction from Trump, which didn't happen. Canadians will beg me to save them.
Quite the boast. Shows his unwavering belief in his own influence, really misreading the Canadian spirit Carney's representing.
And Carney's countered all this. He highlights Canadian unity again, announces provinces, Alberta, Ontario, Quebec, others agreeing to cut internal trade barriers by 50%.
That's huge, strengthening Canada's own internal economy, making it less dependent on external trade by boosting trade within Canada.
And the image described, officials from Alberta and Quebec shaking hands. That's a powerful symbol of overcoming internal differences for the national good.
A very potent symbol. Shows real commitment to bolstering Canada from within.
So how does it all end? Carney apparently makes one last push for partnership, mutual benefit.
But Trump rejects it, defiant, threatens even more tariff hikes.
Still committed to the confrontational path, no compromise.
Seems like it. But Carney stays firm, just reiterates Canada's other options, Europe, Japan, Korea.
Making it crystal clear, Canada has choices. We won't be coerced.
Exactly. Reinforcing that message of independence and alternative partnerships.
And Trump, apparently frustrated, he just leaves abruptly. Didn't get what he wanted, it seems.
His departure suggests he realized he couldn't bully or intimidate Carney into submission. Frustration at the effective resistance.
The aftermath. Big international media coverage, according to the account. CBC, CTV, BBC, headlines calling Carney the guardian of Canadian sovereignty.
Canadian papers echoing that. Even congratulations from the UK Prime Minister. Seems Canada's stance resonated globally.
Though American media was reportedly more divided, reflecting the politics there, I suppose.
Likely. Different perspectives on Trump's trade approach within the U.S. itself.
So wrapping up this deep dive into what sounds like a truly historic showdown, what are the big takeaways for you, the listener?
Well, first, I think, is the power of national unity. The account strongly suggests that Canada's effectiveness came from that shared purpose. Alberta's oil fields, Quebec's factories, all seemingly pulling together.
Absolutely. And second, it really reinforces how vital, how almost sacred Canadian sovereignty is. It's not just borders, it's values, resources, history.
Yeah, this deep dive shows sovereignty isn't just abstract. It's about a nation's identity, its ability to control its future, protect its assets.
And finally, leadership, the demands of it. The account portrays Carney as demonstrating, sharpness, resolve, commitment to the bigger picture for Canada.
The description certainly paints him as someone who stood firm under huge pressure, navigated strategically, and really prioritized Canada's long-term interests.
Ultimately, this account leaves us with this powerful idea. Canada's strength is its people, their resilience, cooperation, that unity from coast to coast.
And perhaps this encounter serves as a potent reminder, doesn't it? A reminder of the strength found in a nation's unity and just how crucial resolute leadership is on the world stage, especially in turbulent times.